know you always like it when we start moving into shells and then pads. What did you see from them out there today with a little bit more pop and a little bit more thudding going on?
Yeah, guys, they've waited since April to hit, you know, and we looked eager. I'll say both sides of the ball. We probably have had our 2 days in helmets were highly competitive. You know, sometimes those can turn into glorified walkthroughs, and highly competitive. And then today was the same way. I mean, a lot of big hits and a lot of guys really, you know, playing with an edge about them. Both sides of the ball, which is good. I think, you know, we've got a thing now where we're really, like we mentioned in the spring, this team does have an edge about it, you know, I mean, it's been a little feisty out here, and as coaches, I think we think that's a good thing.
Where do you think that comes from? Is it the way last year ended? Is that the edge, or is it just wanting to take that next step, or
yeah,
everything?
Probably wanting to take the next step, you know, and it's really not about how last year ended. It was everything about last year, and it's about that level of consistent play, and playing at a high level week in and week out, and I think everything is coming off of that.
Manny, how long is it going to take for you to figure out which freshman can be in the rotation? You know, a Nesta, a Gregory, whatever it is. You know.
So what we do is, the first week, all the freshmen go with the third group, and that way there's kind of no status and whatever. That way all the recruiting stars fall right to the ground. Okay, and also though we can limit some of the calls, make some things easier, so they can kind of show us they can play without having to do so much thinking. You know, maybe. Not make it so complicated jumping around between this defense and that defense. We'll scrimmage on Saturday, and after Saturday we'll start to break apart the depth chart, you know, and start to move some guys, and maybe some of the young guys can go. But you can't really make an assessment until you get to that scrimmage day, because it's just different when you scrimmage, you know, on practice, and all of a sudden guys kind of start going crazy. And with our first game being in such an intense environment, it's not just can you play, but can you play on that stage at that level. And it's not a talent question. It's really a talent of poise and mental toughness and not thinking you know what to do. You have to know what to do in the opener.
How can you assess that's really going to happen in the game? Does the scrimmage help, Manny?
That's the best chance we get, right? Because we don't get a preseason game.
Right.
So those are our preseason games, and you try to make that game feel as much as possible. You want a little bit of the butterflies, and you want to, you know, we can't recreate running out in Jerry World, but as close as we can, you know, hey, it's game day, you know, and really try to get that feeling of like, okay, does a guy all of a sudden who's got great technique out here lose his technique? Does a guy that all of a sudden out here that doesn't bust all of a sudden starts busting? You know, do things start to go faster for that guy? And that's the best we can judge.
But you know that guys like Joe Jackson, you know, the veterans are used to it or have been used to it. The young guys, so you play them more maybe in the scrimmage a little more?
Depends. I think as much like an NFL preseason, you know, sometimes the different scrimmages have different meanings, you know, in terms of guys getting in, but at the same time, you got to get the whole football team sharp to go. Because we don't get to jump in the shallow end of the pool this year, right? We're going right into the, you know, where the lifeguard sits at the deep end, so we got to be ready to go.
Which position group right now for you guys on defense, are you really impressed with, especially?
You know, with just doing the first day in helmets or the first day in pads and not having a chance to watch the film, I can't say that there's a group that's necessarily standing out, but I would say that the guys who you would expect coming back from playing a lot the last 2 years are the guys that look very comfortable playing and have made their mark with some big plays the first couple of days.
Any young guys you can name? Some young ones who have flashed?
Yeah, the young guys, they all have. I mean, that's the neat thing about it. I mean, they're, you know, you've seen you know, Jade back there with the tackle for loss, Jordan Miller back there making plays in the backfield. We already know what to expect from Rousseau. You know, he's kind of picked up where he left off in the spring. In the back end, you see an Al Blades have a really good day the first day, and certainly Frierson and Ivy. I mean, you know, Gervin Hall is back in the mix and kind of doing Gervin Hall things. So there's not the problem is this: we know they're all talented, they can flash, but you don't win all your games with guys flashing, right? You win all your games with guys doing their job on every play. So we're happy they're here. We've recruited them all again, but now comes the hard part. Greatness is being consistently good. And that's the hard, you know, it's so fun now I can put a highlight tape together, right? And I can go on Twitter with my one good play I made, right? But, you know, greatness comes from just being that guy every time. And a great team comes from being consistently good. You know, and sometimes that means last October putting teams away that we should have put away much earlier. You know, and that's that idea of being consistently the same team week in and week out that we're really trying to strive for. And I think that's why we have that edge.
Coach, have you
Couple more
seen
questions for Coach Diaz.
that consistency out of like a guy like Javonte Dean or some of the other defensive backs?
Yeah, I would say, in the corner room, you certainly have Mike Jack, and who's done it the most. Very consistent. Trajan behind him. I still think Tay, Gilbert, and DJ. I think the wheel kind of spins. I think it might be a period where this guy's on top, and that guy's on top. They all have their different pluses and minuses. But again, it's day 3, and so we got 3 weeks to really, set in stone, assuming that Trajan and Mike Jack are 1 and 2, who's number 3 and beyond that.
Along those lines, what are your thoughts on nickel? I saw Manny played there last year. I guess I saw one of the freshmen working there. I mean, is there other options there that you see besides those 2 guys?
Well, we're so much. Obviously, because of the striker position, we have many more athletic type guys that can play there. But it always, like I said in the spring, it's not scheme, it's personnel. It's about finding who our 11 best players are. Is our 3rd safety better than our 3rd corner this year? Is either guy better than our 3rd backer? Because that's going to dictate really how you want to set up your structure. And we have the flexibility to play really predicated on who we think our best guys are. So right now we got our base schemes in. Everybody's got a chance to play. We are running some of the freshmen through at the nickel position. A guy like Blades can play some nickel, but shoot, he may end up being our 3rd or 4th best corner. So we just, for the first 2 weeks, we just let everybody play, and then we got 2 weeks to get ready for the game, and now we start to plug the guys in where they'll feature in Dallas.
Thank you, Coach.
What's Malik been like as a coach? Malik Young, he's out there doing what he can. What's it been like watching him grow in that role?
His enthusiasm, his smile, which has always been fantastic. Just seeing him, we break a drill and he's sprinting over there to where the corners work, and having that joy for life. A guy that's got every reason to be mad at the world, and that's the happiest guy on the football field. Forget about football. I mean, that's something fun for all of us to see. It's something inspiring for all of us to see, and that's as good as it gets right there.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you all so much, okay?